If you turn this video at one point off, then please tell me what the reason was so that I can improve. Otherwise, hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn space science today. Sir George Biddell Airy, and after that Albedo, and after that MDAFRRYN, all just dictionary entries. And after we've done it, we're going to do body center training. And if you participate in the body center training, then it's already your own risk. Sir George Biddell Airy, 1801 until 1892. He was an English astronomer. As Astronomer Royal from 1835 until 1881, Airy instituted Greenwich Mean Time as Britain's official time system in the year 1880. Okay, he was born 1801, lived until 1802, and from 1835 until 1890, until 1881. He was the Royal Astronomer Royal of Britain. And so in the year 1880 he was it who instituted Greenwich Mean Time, the official time of Britain. Airy extensively reorganized the Royal Greenwich Observatory and introduced a telescope for measuring time by the stars, which can still be seen at the old Royal Observatory. Okay, he reorganized the Royal Greenwich Observatory, and he introduced a telescope for measuring time by the stars. Okay, a telescope with which the time could be measured with the stars at the Royal Greenwich Observatory. And it can be seen at the old Royal Observatory. Because of the observatory's reputation under Airy's guidance, the Greenwich Meridian became in 1884 the world's zero line of longitude upon which time changes throughout the world are based. So the Greenwich Meridian is the zero line, the world's zero line for longitude of time. And it goes through Greenwich in 1884. 1880, the Greenwich Mean Time, 1884, but there wasn't here anymore the Astronomer Royal, it became then the Greenwich Meridian. The Greenwich Meridian, which is the zero line, of longitude, and then always a bit further is the next hour, around every 2,000 kilometers something, depending on where on the globe. Okay, now the question is, am I able to say it all from memory? Sir George Biddell Airy. Sir George Biddell Airy, born 1801, lived until 1902. This is a bit difficult numbers this time. 1801, 1892, and he was from 1835 until 1881, the Astronomer Royal. 1835 was when 1835 he became the Royal Astronomer. In 1880 was the introduction of the Greenwich Mean Time, the British time, the Greenwich Mean Time. It is the Greenwich Mean Time, the official time of Britain. Greenwich Mean Time. The other thing, when in 1884, because of the observatory's reputation, in 1884, Greenwich became the meridian. The other thing is the Greenwich Mean Time. Now we have the meridian. The Greenwich Meridian. The Greenwich Meridian 1884 for the zero line on which the time shifts are based on its longitude. The Greenwich Meridian became in 1884 the world's zero line of longitude. And the Greenwich Meridian, I think the meridian is basically the line or the point where Greenwich is on a coordinate system, if the word is not like that. that is the thing for the longitude. It must be then the long line on the left. And the meridian of Greenwich, so one place on the coordinate system for Greenwich, is the 0 line, so the start point for the first longitude, is the first line of the longitude for the time shifts, upon which time changes throughout the world are based. 1835, 1881, born 1802, and 1892. 1801, 92. Okay, Biddell. I'm going to start the second camera, then I try to save it from memory. Sir George Biddell Airy. He was born in the year 1801, and he was from 1835 until 1881 the Astronomer Royal of Britain. And in the year 1880, something isn't right here. It was 1880. The other thing was the year 1845 that Neptune wasn't found by work based on someone else through him. So he was in the position that he was able to discover Neptune, which he didn't do in 1845. And now the first thing here listed what he did during his 1835 and 1881 is 1880. That confuses me. Sir George Biddell Airy. He was born in the year 1801, and he was the Astronomer Royal of Britain from 1835 until 1881. In the year 1880, where he introduced the Greenwich Mean Time, and that is the official time of Britain. And in the year 1884, so a little after he left office, there was now, at the place of the observatory in Greenwich, the 0 line on longitude drawn at that meridian on which the time shifts are based for the clock. So every around 2,000 kilometers at the equator when the clock is 1 hour more in front. And that is according to Structure of the Universe A to Z on the page 48 of a Reader's Digest Library of Modern Knowledge, Book 1, written by Ian Ridworth and John R. Shakespeare. I'm going to start the camera. And the next thing. Albedo. That is the fraction of incoming light that the surface reflects. The albedo of an object, for example a planet, can reveal much about the nature of its surface. Okay. Albedo is that thing called which returns back as light if light hits it. So a mirror, for example, would return maybe even all or a lot, and other pink things don't reflect that much. And that light which is reflected, that is called the albedo. Albedo. The fraction of incoming light that the surface reflects. I'm going to start the camera and try to say it. The albedo is the light which is reflected again. So light hits an object, and the light which is been reflected, a fraction of the light which is reflected, that is the albedo. And in space science it can reveal much about a planet, what the surface of a planet is. And that is according to the page 48 of Structure of the Universe A to Z of the Reader's Digest Library of Modern Knowledge, Book 1, Structure of the Universe, written by Ian Ridworth and John R. Shakespeare. What's up, camera? And we have one thing left. We don't have time for it. Let's look. It's not too long. Aldebaran. That is the brightest star. in the constellation Taurus. It is also known as Alpha Tauri. Aldebaran is a red giant star about 68 light years from Earth. Okay, let's look for one moment at what Taurus is. Taurus, a large constellation of zodiac. A large constellation of a zodiac in the northern skies, visible in winter. It takes its name from the Latin word for bull. The brightest star in Taurus is Aldebaran. Taurus also contains two notable star clusters, the Hyades and the Pleiades. Between the horns of the bull lies the Crep Nebula. The Taurid meteors, an annual shower, radiate from the constellation of Taurus. About 15 meteors an hour can be seen around November the 9th each year. Okay, large from the constellation of the Zodiac. The Zodiac is a band of 12 constellations through which the Sun passes each year. These do not coincide with the constellations named after the sign of a zodiac used by astrologers, I think. The two were identical about 2000 years ago when the constellations were established by Greek astronomers, but have moved apart since because of the wobbling of the Earth on its axis, called precession, which slowly changes the apparent form of the Sun in front of the stars. Okay, Zodiac, that is 12 constellations, Taurus is one of them, and that is somewhere out there in the northern skies at winter. Aldebaran, the brightest star in the constellation Taurus, it is also known as Alpha Tauri. Aldebaran is a red giant star about 68 light years from Earth. Now we have information on, but we need the time for our body center training. That means, if you were here for space science, you can go directly to the next part of space science, where you continue for space science and also with Aldebaran. If you stay here and participate in the body center training, then it's already on the screen. The legs are standing hip width apart. We're going a bit down into the knees. Flex the legs, press the legs together. Now straighten one leg. Bend it. All the time, pressing together and flexing our leg to straighten it. A bit wider apart, down into the knees, flex the legs, press them together and straighten one leg. Our one, straight leg. A bit closer together and press to the outside. Now one leg up and press from the top against the knee. Right angle of the leg, flex foot, even line hips taller with the back, a little bend in here. And now press up inside. Press up and to the side. Press on the outside. Open. Close. Our leg up, press on the top. On the side. Up and to the side. And press on the outside. And up slide. Now, 3 exercises on the ground. First, just a side bend on the elbow. Now, if you like, one leg up. And now, on the long arm. Arm out, leg up, and pull elbow to knee. And over to the other side. First on the elbow. If you like, one leg up. And long up. Arm out, leg up, and pull elbow to knee. And leg up. One heel onto the ground, pull the leg in. Move the leg from left to right. Other heel, pull the leg in. Down, move the leg. And pull the leg up. Next one, part breathing alone. Breathing out. Another round. Breathe in and close the legs. Breathe in and out. That was for body center training. I thank you very much and until next time.